Hi, so I am KB with Notifies. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Fun, quick fact that someone told me we're actually birthday twins. So look at
First?
that. Yeah, the first, 86.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
That's cool.
wild. I know, I know. So let's talk about the show. My goodness. Let's talk about the evolution of Joe because you know what? We thought that we really saw him working to change. And we saw that change, we thought, with love, then with Marianne, and now with Kate. But do you really find that Joe is actually capable of real emotional change? Or do you even feel that he even wants to change?
I mean, it's a super valid question. I think there's levels to it. On one level, uh, he's capable of a little bit of change. He's capable of some change. He is showing signs of emotional growth. He actually does because he's realizing, oh, it's not really about any of them. It's about me. I'm not like I can't divine happiness or derive happiness or mine happiness out of another human being. uh, I have to. Well, what with myself? What does one do to find happiness? I think that's a question we're all asking a little bit.
Mhm.
So he's capable of like a modicum, some iota of change. Is he capable of the change that will allow him to stop like murdering people and stuff? Well, if he was a real person, given his age and history, probably no. No.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
But then it's like I think I hope that anybody who loves this show ends up at least at some point pondering these questions and realizing how much it applies to us and the way we think about love and power and change and all this stuff. I do think it applies. Like, where am I actually treating a relationship more like a competition, and where am I objectifying people in my life, and when I'm upset, how much am I putting it on the behavior of others as opposed to trying to understand in myself what I'm really feeling. I think that's for all of us a sign of emotional maturity. At some point. But Joe, in the second part of your question, sorry, it's a bit long-winded, but like he 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 actually might not want any of this. Actually, he might. I mean, the part of Joe, I can spoil a little bit. I'm not going to give
Oh, yeah.
details.
No, no, no. You can spoil.
Okay, so the part of Joe that is keeping Marianne in the cage,
Mhm.
the part of Joe that we actually see a bit more from her eyes than we've ever seen anybody. Sorry, we see Joe from another person's eyes more than ever. We've never really seen that. Even though Beck and Love get their little vignettes, it's not seeing Joe from their eyes. It's more like seeing the world from their eyes.
Mhm.
Uh, when we see Joe from her eyes, from inside the cage, he's not even really Joe. He's not even really like the dude that we think we know. And so then I think the whole question becomes, is this whole show an exercise in like his fantasy of himself? And is he actually a different person? Um, these are season 5 questions. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was about to say, I hope we get to see the real Joe and maybe Kate and, kind of these unlimited resources, whether they be bad or good, maybe that's a catalyst for us getting to know the real Joe because I do think that you're right. We didn't really get to start to see the real Joe until it was through Marianne's eyes. And then it's kind of like, well, who is he? And like, what does he want out of life? And ultimately, I think it might be love, but I don't know if Joe can be redeemed, you
No,
know?
yeah, I mean, but then this question of like, who is anyone to say that another person is worthy of redemption? That's like, that is a nearly religious question.
That is true. That is true. And Joe, listen, he has a lot of blood on his hands, but I'm hoping he can at least be honest, not only with the people in his life moving forward, but also with himself. And I hope that we see that in season 5 for sure. Well, thank you so much for chatting with Nerdophiles. This season is incredible, full of so many twists and turns, and can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks.